They created a female AI character rather than hiring a person. I just still can't believe it.
Yeah, Joe, I'm in the same boat with you. I'm disappointed about this, but more than that, I'm just confused as to why a team would do that. Obviously, I understand that, many more people are using AI technology nowadays, and it's a cooler feature to have within your team. But in the day and age where we're trying to get more women inclusion in motorsports and we're trying to increase women participation, you create a job for an influencer, but then have AI replace that role. It's something that's just really weird and disappointing. And coming back to what an influencer does, the whole point of an influencer is to have a person that other people can relate to on some sort of level, so that they can force you to like a certain team, or in more basic circumstances, an influencer allows you to like a certain product or promote something. So instead of having a human connection between the influencer and, people who would be supporting Mahindra, you have an AI generated person named Ava doing it. I mean, I was disappointed when I saw this, but more than that, I just was really confused as to why this was an idea in the first place. But I know Ben has more to say on this, so I'll bump it over to him now.
I appreciate that, Esha. And actually, Joe, if you don't mind, I'd like to put all three of us up on the screen here because I want to be talking to both of you when I say this as well. Joe, I know that the reasons why are not worth getting into right here, right now, but the reality is this show went away last year for a couple of months, and we, again, reasons aren't worth getting into, but we weren't doing the Women in Motorsports program for pretty much the entire summer. And Joe, when I called you to talk about our strategy going forward for this program and this network and everything, and I wanted to talk about bringing this show back, one of the things that I specifically said was, how can we get Esha involved? How can we get Amanda involved? And Amanda's been on this show as well to talk about her experience at the summit. And the reason that was so important to me as we were talking about how to bring the Women in Motorsports program back to Grid Network was, I think it's important for us to practice what we preach. We talk all the time on this show about how there are so many talented women, not just behind the wheel of a race car, but all throughout all sorts of different roles, whether it's engineering or social media, which is obviously in this day and age a massive tool that these teams use to promote their brands and everything. I think it's important for us to practice what we preach in the sense that we have talented women here at Grid Network that can be a voice on issues like this, and what better place to give them that voice than a show called Women in Motorsports. So, Esha, I'm glad you're on the show tonight. I'm glad you've been on the show since we brought it back, and I completely agree with everything you said. It's not even a gender issue in many respects. I think that there's certainly considerably more outrage that they used a female branded AI influencer in this place here, but forget gender for just a second. This is taking a spot away from anybody. Any talented influencer or anybody that has these talents that they can offer to a race team. Well, now you've put AI in their place, and they can't show you those talents and can't help you through their talents in that way. And I know that it's not just influencer. I know that term gets thrown around and has some negative connotations to it sometimes, but I think AI, is a really fascinating topic that, we could spend a whole show probably debating the repercussions of what it could mean for the future of motorsports as well. But, it's not just influencers that I think could be under threat from teams trying to cut corners here and avoid hiring real people for positions that they think can be filled by artificial intelligence. So it's a concerning trend for me. And I think it was really brought to attention by Mahindra in this decision that they made, and then very quickly backtracked on when they saw how much frustration and outrage there was after the announcement. But I just wanted to make that clear and make our position here clear at this show and this network here, that I think it's very important for us to practice what we preach in that sense and do our part. We lament all the time that, whether it's, sponsorship reasons or, whatever reason that, a talented woman can't get an opportunity in whatever role that they have that they're going for in this sport. It's a very small part that we can offer here at Grid Network to somebody like Esha to be a part of this show. But I think it's important that we do that.
You bring up a really good point, Ben, about especially replacing a human being. Sort of remind me of, remember the old Robo Race idea that came up with Lucas Degrassi, Formula E? That has gone nowhere after that failed start where it just not even went like 2 feet forward. It just went straight into a wall. And I think the fans made it clear they don't want to see the drivers replaced with robots. We know robot drivers are coming, but it doesn't seem like the racetracks where they want them. The outrage of the AI social media influencer, I think that was a good indication that fans don't want to see AI take that position away from a person deserving of it.
Yeah, and Joe, I'm glad you brought Robo Race up because I think again, there's a place for that technology. There's a place for testing that technology, and I think what better way to test autonomous cars than trying to have a race between two of them and seeing how they react to that. I think there's certainly a place for that technology, but to try to market it as a series that viewers would tune into and watch and pay attention to and buy merchandise for and support different teams that as if it's a series comparable to Formula E or Formula One or NASCAR, IndyCar, or whatever. I think that was a mistake on Robo Race's part, was trying to create it in that sense rather than just trying to take the technology and test it and see what the results are from there. And like you mentioned, Joe, as far as I know, Robo Race has kind of gone under. I haven't heard anything about them in years. I actually went to the inaugural Formula E race in New York City in 2017. They had a Robo Race car on display, and I know that they were trying to push that technology. I think they've kind of moved on from that endeavor, and it's been a while since I heard anything about it.